Hey everyone, and welcome back to your Inspirations Quick Travel Guide channel. Welcome to Just Listen Norway edition. Join us as we explore Norway's breathtaking landscapes, vibrant cities, and unique culinary delights. Whether planning a visit or simply curious, we've got insider tips, must-see attractions, and answers to some burning questions.
Ooh,
In this episode, we'll take you on an audio adventure exploring Norway's hidden gems, must-visit attractions, vibrant cities, and mouth-watering cuisine. We'll share local insights and practical tips and answer those burning questions you've always had about Norway, from how to pronounce take correctly to the best time to spot the midnight sun. So sit back, relax, and let your ears travel to the enchanting land of Norway. Tune in, and let's embark on this Nordic adventure together.
that's right. We've dug deep into a treasure trove of travel articles, blogs, and insider tips to craft the ultimate Norway experience for you, even if you need more time.
My name is Thomas.
And I'm Sarah.
While we love sharing Norway's amazing stories with you, this is primarily an audio experience, perfect for your commute, workout, or daily walk. Although some general Norway-related clips are playing in the background, they're not specifically matched to each location we discuss.
Yeah, exactly. If you're looking for detailed visual content of specific places, countries, or cities, head to our YouTube channel. There, you'll find a growing collection of dedicated videos to help you plan your trip to several destinations worldwide.
Okay. So fjords,
Hmm,
they're on everyone's Norway bucket list for a reason, right?
yeah.
But here's a little secret. While those iconic pictures of Fjord and Fjord are stunning, they also attract a bit of a crowd.
They do. It's like the saying goes, the early bird catches the worm, or in this case, the fjord. But seriously, our sources suggest that if you're looking for a more serene experience, visiting these popular spots during the shoulder seasons, spring or autumn, can make all the difference.
Oh, I can imagine the fjords being even more magical with a touch of autumn foliage. But let's say crowds are really not your thing,
Yeah.
and you want those hidden gem kind of fjords.
Well, you're in luck. Several sources raved about Hoarendfjord, describing it as the most beautiful fjord in Norway. High praise. They say it has that same dramatic beauty as the more famous fjords, but without the tourist traffic.
Okay, that's going straight on the list. Now I'm picturing myself cruising along this pristine fjord, maybe even spotting a seal or two.
And while you're in the mood for breathtaking scenery, the Lyngen Alps are another must-see. Imagine soaring peaks, sparkling glaciers, and a sense of remote beauty that will take your breath away.
It sounds incredible, but let's be real, fjords and mountains aren't the only things Norway has to offer, right? What about those charming coastal towns everyone's always talking about?
Absolutely. And while the Lofoten Islands with their colorful fishing villages are definitely picture-perfect, they've become quite the hotspot in recent years.
So where should those of us seeking a quieter escape head to?
2 words, Senja and Vesterålen. They're just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Lofoten Islands, but offer a similar dramatic landscape with fewer crowds.
Okay, I'm sold. But paint a picture for me. What makes Senja and Vesterålen so special?
Imagine this. Senja will wow you with its jagged peaks plunging straight into the sea. Talk about dramatic landscapes. Meanwhile, Vesterålen offers a more tranquil vibe with rolling hills, charming fishing villages, and a sense of peaceful solitude that's perfect for those seeking a break from the everyday hustle.
It sounds like the perfect balance.
Yeah.
And speaking of unique experiences, one of our sources mentioned staying in a lighthouse on the island of Dieri. Can you imagine waking up to those panoramic ocean views?
Now that's what I call an unforgettable getaway. But Norway's beauty isn't just limited to its coastline. One of the articles raved about the Nordland region, calling it the Northern Lights capital.
Okay, the Northern Lights are definitely on my bucket list. Are we talking about prime Aurora Borealis viewing territory here?
You bet. Apparently, the clear skies and minimal light pollution in this region make it ideal for catching a glimpse of that celestial show.
Now, I know we're talking about experiencing Norway like a local, but we can't forget about the capital city, right? What's the deal with Oslo?
Oslo is a fascinating blend of urban excitement and natural beauty all packed into one vibrant city.
I'm intrigued. Give me the highlights. What should we prioritize if we only have a couple of days in Oslo?
Well, for a glimpse into Norway's seafaring history, the Viking Ship Museum is a must. They have actual Viking ships on display, some dating back to the 9th century.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like stepping back in time. Anything else we should miss while we're in Oslo?
No, definitely check out the Oslo Opera House. It's a modern architectural marvel. And here's the kicker, you can walk on its roof.
Okay, you have me at walkable roof. I'm picturing some pretty epic panoramic photos. And for those who like to combine their city strolls with a bit of art and nature, what did our sources recommend?
They raved about Vigeland Park. It's home to over 200 sculptures by Gustav Vigeland, all nestled within a beautifully landscaped park. It's the perfect place to wander, contemplate art, and just enjoy a peaceful afternoon.
That sounds like my kind of afternoon, but let's say you've ticked off those iconic Oslo landmarks. What about some local secrets, those hidden gems that even some Norwegians might not know about?
Well, one source let us in on a little secret, Bus 30. This isn't your average city bus. It's a scenic route that takes you on a mini adventure around the Big Døy Peninsula, home to museums, beaches, forests, and stunning views of the fjord.
Hold on, a bus ride that doubles as a sightseeing tour?
Exactly.
I'm so there. What kind of museums are we talking about?
Oh, just casual places like the Fram Museum, dedicated to polar exploration, the Kon-Tiki Museum showcasing Thor Heyerdahl's epic expeditions, and the Norwegian Museum of Cultural History, where you can step back in time and explore traditional Norwegian life.
Okay, I'm officially adding Ride Bus 30 to my Norway itinerary. But before we get too caught up in the excitement of Oslo, our sources were bursting with unique destinations outside the capital. Have you ever heard of Røros?
I have. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its charming wooden houses and its fascinating mining history.
Sounds adorable. Did our sources have any specific recommendations for Røros?
They did. One suggested staying at Alby Gordon, a renovated barn that's been transformed into a luxurious hotel. Imagine relaxing in a cozy, historic setting after a day of exploring the town's charming streets and learning about its mining past.
A luxurious barn, sign me up. But let's say you're looking for something a bit more, shall we say, adventurous. What about Folldal?
Oh, Folldal. It's like stepping into a postcard with its dramatic mountain scenery. Our sources said it's an outdoor enthusiast's paradise, especially in the winter when you can go skiing, snowshoeing, and even try your hand at dog sledding.
Okay, I'm getting serious Frozen vibes here.
Right.
And I'm here for it. Any lodging recommendations for those of us dreaming of a cozy cabin getaway?
One source highly recommended Lyngen. They described it as an authentic Norwegian cabin stay complete with cozy interiors, stunning views, and that peaceful feeling of being surrounded by nature.
It sounds idyllic, but Norway's beauty is no secret. And I think we all know that those stunning landscapes and unique experiences often come with a hefty price tag. What about those of us traveling on a budget?
You're right. Norway can be expensive. But don't worry. Our sources have got you covered. One of the best ways to save money is to avoid peak season. Think shoulder season or even consider a winter trip to experience a different side of Norway.
So we're talking spring, autumn, or even embracing the cozy vibes of a Norwegian winter. But what about those iconic destinations that are always going to be crowded no matter the time of year?
Well, here's where a little strategic planning comes in. Instead of staying right in the heart of those tourist hotspots, consider looking for accommodations in nearby villages.
So, for example, if I'm dreaming of those epic Geiranger Fjord views but don't want to break the bank, where would you suggest I stay?
One article recommended Hestag Gard in Norddal. It's a short distance from Geiranger itself, but still offers those incredible fjord views, and the best part, it's known for being budget-friendly.
Okay, Hestag Gard, you're on the list. But let's say we've saved up a bit and want to indulge in a truly luxurious Norwegian experience. Any recommendations for those splurge-worthy stays?
Oh, absolutely. If you're looking for a blend of luxury and wellness, the Ferris Bad in Larvik sounds incredible. One source raved about its pool, spa, hot tub, and luxury with a modern charm located on the beach in Larvik.
I'm sold. A spa and hot tub at the coast, that's what I call a vacation. But before we get too carried away with luxurious hotels and fjord views,
let's talk about the food. After all those adventures exploring fjords, mountains, and charming towns, you're gonna have quite the appetite.
oh, absolutely, I'm already dreaming of fresh seafood and those hearty traditional dishes. What are some must-tries for first-time visitors to Norway?
Well, you can't go wrong with Norwegian salmon. I mean, it's world famous for a reason.
I've heard it's incredibly delicious and much more flavorful than the salmon you usually find in supermarkets.
Exactly. And one of the articles mentioned that you might even spot salmon farms in those iconic sea cages as you're cruising along the fjords. Fresh from the source, talk about a foodie adventure.
That's amazing. Imagine seeing where your dinner comes from surrounded by those breathtaking fjord views. But let's say you're craving something a little heartier, a bit more traditional. What would you recommend?
One of the sources raved about a dish called lapskaus. It's a traditional Norwegian stew, perfect for warming you up on a chilly day, made with tender meat, potatoes, and root vegetables, all simmered in a rich broth.
Oh, that sounds so comforting. Definitely adding that to my list. But let's be honest, sometimes you're on vacation and you want to treat yourself. What if we're in the mood for something a bit fancier?
Well, if you find yourself in Oslo and your budget allows, the city actually has a thriving fine dining scene.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have pictured Oslo as a foodie capital, but I'm pleasantly surprised. What's the vibe like? Any specific recommendations?
One article suggested checking out the restaurants in the Aker Brygge complex. It's a vibrant waterfront area with stunning views, perfect for a special evening out.
I'm picturing it now. Delicious food, waterfront views, maybe a glass of wine. Sounds like the perfect way to end a day of exploring Oslo.
Absolutely. And speaking of drinks, our sources did mention that alcohol can be quite pricey in Norway, especially at restaurants and bars.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll have to budget accordingly. Any tips for enjoying a drink or two without blowing the entire travel fund?
One article suggested checking out local breweries. They said that Norway's craft beer scene has exploded in recent years, and it's a much more affordable way to experience local flavors.
Now that's what I call a good travel tip. Delicious local brews, a chance to mingle with locals. But for now, let's switch gears and talk about accommodations. We quote V already covered some pretty unique options, but what about those who prefer something a bit more traditional?
Well, Norway has a wide range of hotels, from budget-friendly options to luxurious resorts. So there's something for everyone. And one source reminded us that those luxury hotels, like the Ferris Bad Wellness Hotel we mentioned earlier, offer a chance to really immerse yourself in luxury and charm.
I love that idea, but for those traveling on a tighter budget, especially younger travelers or backpackers, are hostels a good option in Norway?
Absolutely. Our sources mentioned that hostels are quite popular, especially in the more touristy areas like the Lofoten Islands.
That makes sense. It's a great way to meet other travelers and save some money on accommodation. But let's say you're traveling with family or a group of friends, or maybe you just value your privacy. What's the accommodation situation like for those who want a bit more space and independence?
Renting a cabin is a very popular option in Norway, and for good reason.
Oh, I can imagine. Waking up to those incredible views, having your own space to relax and unwind. What's not to love?
Exactly. And many cabins come equipped with kitchens, which is a great way to save money on eating out for every meal.
Okay, so we've got options for every budget and travel style, from luxurious hotels to cozy cabins to budget-friendly hostels. But speaking of budgets, are there ways to save money on food in Norway besides cooking in a cabin?
Definitely. One tip that came up a few times was to take advantage of breakfast buffets.
Breakfast buffets.
Yeah,
The best way to fuel up for a day of exploring, and you can't beat the value.
exactly. Many hotels and even some guest houses offer them. It's a great way to start your day with a hearty and affordable meal. And for lunch or a quick bite on the go, one of our sources recommended trying fiskeboller.
Fiskeboller. Okay, I need you to elaborate on that one. What is it? And more importantly, how do you pronounce it?
No problem. Fiskebollers are essentially Norwegian fish balls, often served in a creamy white sauce. They're a popular street food option and a great way to experience authentic local cuisine without spending a fortune.
Okay, I'm adding fiskeboller to the list. It sounds delicious. But all this talk about food and exploring has got me wondering, what's the best way to get around Norway? Do we need to rent a car, or is public transportation a viable option?
Norway actually has a really efficient and well-connected public transportation system. You can get around by train, bus, and even ferries, especially if you're sticking to the major cities and towns.
Okay, that's good to know. So we could potentially get away without renting a car, but let's say we want to explore those more remote areas, those hidden gems our sources keep raving about. Is renting a car necessary in those cases?
It can definitely give you more freedom and flexibility. Imagine cruising along those scenic coastal roads at your own pace, stopping whenever you spot a breathtaking view or a charming village. That's the beauty of a road trip.
Okay, road trip it is. But before I start picturing myself behind the wheel of a car, navigating those winding Norwegian roads, what are the driving conditions like? Is it safe to drive in Norway?
Generally, yes. Norway is considered very safe for driving. They have well-maintained roads and strict traffic laws. However, there are a few things to keep in mind.
Like what? Give me the lowdown. I want to be prepared.
Well, Norway has a lot of mountainous terrain, so be prepared for winding roads and some steep inclines. And even in the summer, you can encounter rain and fog, especially along the coast, so it's always a good idea to check the weather forecast before setting off on a road trip.
Okay, noted. Always be prepared for changing weather conditions. Anything else we should know about driving in Norway?
One important detail from our research is that winter tires are mandatory during the winter months. It's a safety precaution that's taken very seriously in Norway.
That makes complete sense. Safety first. But now that we've covered transportation, let's switch gears and talk about safety in general. What's the vibe like in Norway? Is it a safe country for travelers?
Absolutely. Norway consistently ranks as one of the safest countries in the world with very low crime rates. So you can relax and enjoy your trip without constantly worrying about your safety.
That's so reassuring. It's always good to know you can let your guard down a bit and enjoy the destination without feeling on edge. But what about the people? What are Norwegians like? Are they friendly and welcoming to tourists?
From what our sources say, Norwegians are generally known for being friendly and helpful. Although they might come across as a bit reserved at first, they're not necessarily the type to strike up a conversation with strangers out of the blue.
So don't be offended if they don't greet you with a hug and a kiss on each cheek.
Exactly. They're more about respecting personal space and privacy, but don't let their initial reserve fool you. They're always happy to help if you have questions or need directions. That's good to know. It's all about understanding different cultural norms.
But speaking of cultural norms, is there anything else we should know about Norwegian customs or etiquette before we go around hugging strangers and showing up late for dinner?
Well, one thing that came up a few times in our research is that Norwegians are very punctual.
Okay, so punctuality is key. No island time in Norway. Got it. What else?
They also place a high value on environmental awareness.
That's fantastic. So being mindful of our environmental impact, not littering, respecting the natural beauty of the country, those are all important things to keep in mind. Exactly. And here's a fun little tidbit about Norwegian etiquette. It's customary to remove your shoes when entering someone's home. Oh, like in many Asian cultures. It's a sign of respect and keeps the floors clean. Good to know. Are there any fashion tips for blending in with the locals? Do we need to pack our finest Norwegian sweaters?
Norwegians tend to dress practically and comfortably, favoring functionality over flashy fashion. So pack your cozy sweaters, comfortable shoes for all that walking and exploring, and maybe a raincoat or windbreaker, just in case those Norwegian elements decide to make an appearance.
Sounds like my kind of packing list. Comfortable and practical is the way to go. But before we move on to our next topic, I have to ask, what about the language barrier? Do I need to become fluent in Norwegian before my trip?
Not at all. English is widely spoken in Norway, especially in the tourist areas. So, while it's always a good idea to learn a few basic phrases in the local language, you should be able to get around just fine with English.
That's a relief. Now I can focus on perfecting my pronunciation of fiskeboller instead of trying to learn an entirely new language. But speaking of new experiences, we've covered a lot of ground when it comes to practical travel tips, but our sources were full of fascinating insights into Norway's history and culture.
They were. From their Viking heritage to their charming stave churches, there's so much to discover beyond those stunning landscapes.
I'm ready to dive into the history books, or at least the history section of our notes. All right, we're ready to journey through time as we uncover those stories behind Norway's rich history and culture.
Absolutely. And we can't talk about Norwegian history without mentioning those legendary seafarers, the Vikings.
Of course not. Their legacy looms large, from those epic tales of exploration and conquest to their influence on modern-day pop culture.
Exactly. And our sources were full of fascinating insights into Norway's Viking past. Did you know that the Viking Ship Museum in Oslo, which we mentioned earlier, houses actual Viking ships dating back to the 9th century?
I know, it's incredible to think that those ships, now carefully preserved in a museum, were once sailing the open seas, exploring uncharted territories. And maybe even engaging in a little bit of raiding along the way.
It really captures that adventurous spirit of the Vikings, doesn't it? But you know, they weren't just fierce warriors and explorers. They were also skilled traders and craftsmen.
So a bit more nuanced than their fierce reputation might suggest.
Exactly. They established extensive trading networks across Europe and beyond, exchanging goods and ideas. In fact, one article mentioned that Viking explorers even reached North America centuries before Columbus.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. It really puts their seafaring skills into perspective. But enough about the Vikings for now. Our sources also mentioned those charming stave churches that are scattered across Norway. What's the story with those? They seem quite unique.
They are. Stave churches are medieval wooden churches known for their intricate carvings and unique architectural style. They were built using a special technique called stave construction, where massive wooden posts or staves form the framework of the building.
So imagine walking into one of these churches surrounded by towering wooden pillars, intricate carvings, and the scent of ancient timber. It's like stepping back in time.
Exactly. And many of these stave churches have been incredibly well preserved, offering a glimpse into Norway's medieval past.
It's amazing how they've stood the test of time, a testament to the craftsmanship of those who built them. But speaking of things that have stood the test of time, we have to talk about Norway's breathtaking natural landscapes. I mean, we've covered fjords and mountains, but what about those national parks everyone's raving about?
Well, for those seeking serious mountain views, Jotunheimen National Park should be at the top of the list.
Jotunheimen. I love that name. It sounds like something straight out of Norse mythology.
It does, doesn't it? And fittingly, it's home to Norway's highest peaks. Galdhøpiggen in Glittertind, along with sparkling glaciers, cascading waterfalls, and valleys carved by ancient ice flows.
It sounds like a paradise for hikers and nature lovers. But let's say you're looking for a national park experience that's a little less about scaling towering peaks and a little more about immersing yourself in untouched wilderness. What about Røros National Park?
Ah, Røros. It's known for its rugged beauty with rounded peaks, vast plateaus, and a sense of serene isolation that's truly captivating.
So maybe a little less crowded than Jotunheimen.
You could say that. And it's a haven for wildlife. Imagine hiking through pristine forests, spotting reindeer grazing in the valleys, and maybe even catching a glimpse of a majestic elk.
Okay, now I'm dreaming of a Røros adventure. But as much as I love those epic landscapes and the thrill of spotting wildlife, our sources also highlighted the importance of cultural experiences in Norway. And one that stood out to me was learning about the Sámi people.
Ah, yes. The Sámis are the indigenous people of northern Norway, Sweden, Finland, and parts of Russia.
That's right. They have a rich culture that's deeply connected to nature, mainly known for their reindeer herding traditions.
Exactly. Reindeer herding is a central part of their cultural identity, and many Sámi still practice this traditional way of life today. And for visitors interested in experiencing Sámi culture firsthand, one of our sources recommended visiting a Sámi reindeer farm near Tromsø.
That sounds like a truly unique and enriching experience, a chance to connect with the Sámi people, learn about their traditions, and maybe even meet some reindeer. But speaking of unique experiences, I have to ask about this concept of friluftsliv that kept popping up in our research. It sounds so intriguing.
It is. Friluftsliv is this deeply ingrained Norwegian philosophy that translates to open-air living.
Okay, so more than just a word, it's a way of life.
Exactly. It's about embracing the outdoors, connecting with nature, and finding joy and well-being in simple pleasures.
I love that. It's like a reminder to slow down, breathe in the fresh air, and appreciate the beauty around us.
And it's evident in so many aspects of Norwegian culture, from their love of hiking, skiing, and kayaking to their deep respect for the environment.
It's inspiring, really. It makes you want to book a flight to Norway, lace up your hiking boots, and experience that connection with nature for yourself.
I know, right? It's a reminder that sometimes the most fulfilling experiences are those that connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this incredible journey through Norway. From those majestic fjords to charming villages, Viking history to the concept of friluftsliv, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have, and hopefully we've inspired you to discover the magic of Norway for yourself.
Don't forget to check out our show notes for links to all the places we mentioned, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring travel guides and tips. And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you enjoyed our journey, subscribe to our channel for more content on incredible destinations to help you plan your next adventure. Don't forget to visit our website for in-depth information. We're constantly adding new content just for you. Plus, exciting news. We're gearing up for live streams featuring detailed insights on each location, complete with background music, to make learning about these places even more enjoyable. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned and happy traveling.
Have a great day and happy travels.